This story takes place around 1938, a time when World War II had already begun, and atrocities against Jewish people had started in Germany. As a result, many Jewish were being fired from their jobs, and among them was Walter. Walter realized that Hitler and his Nazi regime were against him, meaning they were against Jewish. He knew that if he didn't quickly leave with his family, they would be in great danger. Walter applied for a job in Kenya and got a position at a firm. Although he was originally a lawyer, working at this firm was now his only option because he couldn't find any other work, and no other country was willing to provide shelter to Jewish refugees. In fact, no one wanted to go against Hitler. Walter finally accepted the job at the firm and was provided with a house in a remote village. He then wrote a letter to his family in Germany, asking them to come to Kenya. However, Walter's parents and sister were reluctant to leave because Germany was a developed country, and Kenya was very underdeveloped. Despite this, his wife and daughter, whose name was Regina, decided to go Kenya. As they traveled to be with Walter, they realized just how underdeveloped Kenya is. There is a severe shortage of water, leading to the death of many animals, and there are numerous mosquitoes. This was why Walter had written in his letter to bring a mosquito net to protect themselves from mosquitoes while sleeping. In fact, when Walter first arrived in Kenya, he contracted malaria due to mosquito bites, because of which he was almost dying. Fortunately, his cook saved him using herbal remedies. Now, Walter's wife and daughter finally arrive at his new home, and Walter is overjoyed to see them. His cook also very happy to Walter's daughter, and he hugs her tightly, and she also very happy to see him. Walter then takes his family on a tour of the entire village. At that time, due to the severe water shortage, the animals on the farm are dying. So the farm's owner tells Walter that he must dig a well as soon as possible to provide enough water for the animals. One night, while Walter is having dinner with his family, their cook sits at a distance. Walter's daughter finds this very strange, as she is unaware of the significant discrimination between black and white people. Because their cook is black, he is not allowed to sit with them. As the days pass, Walter's wife realizes that she cannot stay there. Living in such conditions is very difficult. However, Walter's daughter enjoys spending time with the cook. She talks with him all day and learns many new things about his culture. Walter has now been at this place for 6 months, but he has not yet succeeded in digging a well. As a result, his wife has to go far from the house to fetch water. In the local culture, it is believed that fetching water is a task for women, so their cook cannot help with this. Walter's wife has to fetch the water herself, and she is not happy living there. She wants to return to Germany because she has all the amenities there and her family is there as well. However, Walter does not want to go back because he knows it is dangerous in Germany. One day, while they are having lunch, a fire breaks out in the nearby bushes due to the heat. Seeing this, Walter's wife's patience finally snaps, and she says, "This life here is not for us." She continues, "There is nothing here but heat, thirst, and mosquitoes." Walter responds, "This morning, I heard on the radio that Hitler's atrocities against Jewish people in Germany are increasing. Jews are being killed and sent to concentration camps, and their places of worship are being burned. I understand that there is a lack of food and water here, and that living here is difficult, but at least we are alive." After hearing Walter's words, his wife also comes to terms with their situation. She understands that they have to stay here now. With time passing slowly, they complete a year at this place. After a year, they become accustomed to living here. Walter's daughter Regina also starts enjoying her time here. She makes friends with the local children, and gradually, she warms up to the place. Initially, she used to watch the children playing from a distance, but their cook encourages them to befriend her. Now, her best friend is their cook. At that time, Africa was under British rule, and one day, when a British car approached, Walter's cook takes Regina inside with him. He fears they might take her away with them, which is a legitimate concern. As British soldiers arrive and inform Walter, "We know you've come from Germany. We want you to join us so we can defeat Germany, that is, Hitler." First, Walter goes himself, and then he sends his friend. After that, he calls his family. But when Walter's daughter is about to leave, she looks at their cook with tears because he is her best friend. Afterward, they are taken to a place where there is a British colony. Here, people from different countries and backgrounds reside. Now, Walter is to be sent to the war. When Walter's wife learns of this, she goes to Walter Sr. and says, "Walter is very skilled at handling firm work, why not assign him some work in a firm?" However, the officer refuses, saying it goes against his rules. Walter has to go to war. Later on, when Walter's wife is alone at home, Walter's friend, who has known her for a few days, visits her. He tells Walter's wife, "I can secure your husband's job in a firm, I know the officer. But in return, you'll have to spend some time with me." Walter's wife compromises, and as a result, Walter's job is transferred to a duty in a firm. And now he starts working on the farm. There's no shortage of water here, it's very green all around. Walter is satisfied with this place. One day, Walter receives a letter from his father, which says that the situation in Germany is very bad. Hitler's tyranny has increased a lot. He has sealed all of Germany's borders, so now nobody can leave Germany. I'm scared to live in Germany for the first time in my life, and now, Walter is worried about his family and his father. The next day, their old cook also comes here because he knows they need him. Seeing him, Walter's daughter and wife are very happy. Walter's daughter has found her friend again. In the meantime, Walter arranges admission for his daughter in a British school, which is far from here, so she'll have to stay in the hostel there. His daughter is very quick in her studies, so the principal also gives a book her. On the flip side, Walter's wife receives a letter from her mom, informing her that the situation in Germany is very bad, and now we are all being sent to Poland. After reading the letter, she becomes very worried for her mom, and at night, she tells Walter that she wants to go to her mom. Walter says that going there would be like risking our life, I don't want us to go there. Somehow, he can convince his wife. The next morning, Walter's friend comes here and asks him, "What are you doing here in the firm? You should to go to the war to be fighting against Germany so that we can defeat Hitler." Now Walter decides that he will join the army again. He quickly joins the army and asks his wife to come with him, but she says, "I'll manage the work here in the firm. You go for your duty." She stays here at the firm while Walter leaves. Walter's wife manages the work on the farm very well with their cook Owuor. Meanwhile, Walter's daughter also comes home during the holidays. She gets very upset and asks her mom, "Why are we Jews? In school, everyone bullies me and says that we killed God's son." Her mom says, "That's not true. The truth is, humans created religions, and after that, they started fighting for religion. But the truth is, we are all humans, and we are Germans." After that, they go to a fair where Regina sees the boy she has liked since childhood. Even today, she still likes the African boy. She watches him closely. In fact, Walter's entire family has fully accepted Africa. They no longer remember Germany. Afterwards, on May 9, 1945, when Walter comes home on leave, he tells his wife that Germany has now been completely occupied and Hitler is dead. But he also tells her that his parents are dead. His sister survived, but she has married someone else. Few days later, once again, he re-enlists in his army duty. After 4 years, Walter receives a letter from Germany stating that he has been appointed to a judge's post. He is very happy about the possibility of going back. First, he goes to his daughter and tells her that they are going back to Germany. His daughter says she will go to Germany on one condition, that they take their cook Owuor with them. But Walter doesn't agree to this condition. He then goes to his wife and tells her that the army is sending them back to Germany. His wife says, "This can't happen without our decision. I'll never go back to the country that killed our parents. Besides, I also love Africa." And now, a few more days pass like this manner, and in 1947, Walter once again tries to persuade his wife, but she is more preoccupied with the matters of the firm. Walter understands that his wife won't come with him this time, so the next day, he packs his bags and prepares to leave. His daughter tries to persuade him not to go and says, "Mom needs you." But he comes to know that his friend, who helps his wife with the firm, is now being liked by his wife, which makes Walter even more upset. Therefore, he doesn't stop here and heads towards the airport. But then, on the way, he sees that there is a lot of grasshopper coming rapidly. Seeing this, he becomes very worried because he knows that grasshoppers completely destroy crops. Now he can't stop himself, and he goes to the farmer's firm here to save their crops from the grasshopper, which pleases his wife a lot. She also tells Walter that she is pregnant and has now changed her decision, and she is ready to go to Germany with Walter. Walter arranges tickets for Germany, and before leaving he goes to see cook Owuor, who is sitting in the corner. Walter asks him why you are sitting here. Owuor says, "I'm going on a safari desert trip. It's a tradition in our culture that everyone must go on a safari desert trip at least once." Walter says, "We will never forget what you did for us." Owuor replies, "I will never forget you either." After that, Walter's daughter also goes to Owuor, tears well up in her eyes because he is her very good friend. When she first came to this country, Owuor was her first friend. When he picked her up, it felt like her skin was made of chocolate, which is why he's so dark. She loves Owuor very much, and just like her childhood, he lifts her up in his arms once again. Afterward, the entire family heads to the airport by train. Today, this whole family is leaving the country, but their hearts still remain here. The love they received from the people here was something they had never found anywhere else. If love and truth reside in a person's heart, they can make anyone from any country their own. This is what Walter, his wife, and daughter did. Therefore, the people here love them dearly, and they always consider this land as their own. This film was even nominated for the Best Foreign Film Oscar Award. So, that was the whole story of film Nowhere in Africa, which is based on a true story. We hope you enjoyed this story.